Okie doke. Got a little bit different of a setup today. Let's see what we could do here. How am I sitting? Am I sitting pretty here or what? There we go. We got YouTube, we've got TikTok, and we've got some specials for you guys. It'll be fun. I got some St. John's for our live today. Then I'll be doing it a little herb shot glass, and of course, starting to do kind of a new thing. I know it's been a while, but I'm going to be doing giveaways on each live that I do here going forward. So, should be pretty fun. But get commenting. I get, we got some friends in the chat already. I love it. So, let me pull up. I got a couple screens here now. I know we've leveled up. I got some new signs behind me. Getting crazy. Crazy cool, that is. But yes, let me know. Can you hear me? I know it's been a while. It's probably been like a week. Oh my goodness. But the office is looking good. We're getting all set up. I got basically, aside from the x-ray room, we are pretty much ready to go here. So it's getting exciting. Doing obviously all the remote patients, people that don't come into the clinic every day. We are definitely cranking away in terms of those appointments. So, but I love it. And I've got the live chats pulled up here. I'm just going to pull up the YouTube one. Emma, I see you putting your questions in there. I love it. I'll get to them in 1 second. I'm just going to pull up both chat streams. We're going to be showing some discounted stuff today. Why is this not going half screen? Come on. Sorry, I have a new Mac person, so it's a little confusing for me. What is going on here? Okay, can I go like this? Ah, there we go. Freaking heck. All right, that's not working. How do I do this? Hold on. I am trying to fit both chats in the freaking 32-inch. Oh, wow. Look at that. Apple's pretty smart. I'm not just looking into the sky aimlessly. Bro, this is so annoying. Okay, there we go. Nas, I see you. I see you, Nas. Okay, we are all set up. All right. The first question on TikTok is from a hater, which I love. Do you have a medical degree? Well, they're not a hater, but no. This is all natural health stuff, all coming from a holistic point of view. Actually, hold on. We need some good lighting in here, folks. Give me 1 second. Oh. How do I get this? All right. Holy shit, we're a mess today. See me all up close and personal today. Ah, there we go. A little bit better. Hopefully you guys can see me well now. Okay. Okay, cool. Not from a hateful point of view. You're good. We're just getting all squared away here. I'm gonna pour some St. John's because out of all of the herbs, by far my favorite herb for the winter, not just because of the lack of light reception that we're getting from less and less sun. It also has wonderful effects on serotonin, dopamine, and some norepinephrine. So it's kind of a little bit of a push-up bra for the adrenals. You guys have heard me explain that a couple times now. But aside from that, it is fantastic for boosting your mood and giving you a little pep in your step, especially when it's dark at 4 p.m. I don't know where you live, but I'm on the East Coast here in New Jersey. And to answer the question before, no medical degree here. I'm basically a chiropractor and a practitioner for the wellness way. So all of what I do is based on different stressors, different mental, chemical, physical stressors that everybody interacts with, and they create inflammatory responses over time and throw your body off like crazy. So the whole viewpoint is we need to, like the poster behind me, start rebuilding the house from the inside out instead of being a fire department that just sprays it down, because that's the medical point of view. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, if you don't have disease or pathology and you're not getting any answers and you're seeing a rheumatologist and an endocrinologist and a gastroenterologist and you're just kind of getting the runaround, there's a reason for that, because we haven't figured out what's the causal factors behind what you're going through. And that really does boil down to those 3 different stressors. So, in terms of solutions and how we go about those things, it is going to be pretty much a mix of different herbal tinctures, like what I'll be talking through today, talking through a couple of them that I have on basically a 10 to 15% discount for each one of them, and that will only be available during the lives and also the new patient appointments. If you're on YouTube, those are in my description through the link tree there, and only during these live times will that be a $99 visit. That goes back up to $175 as soon as I end these lives, and the herbs here that are 10% off during the live will go up to full price once we end the live. But I want to be kind of asking you guys some questions during these lives, and the people who can answer those questions correctly, we're going to give some stuff out. But I'm getting a little bit behind on the YouTube chats, and we are headed toward 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we're headed toward 1,000 on TikTok. I need you guys to follow the page on TikTok, because I can then put the link I'm talking about in the description or thing. But how about I start answering some of you guys' questions? Let's do that, huh? All right, I'm going to start with the TikTok ones because you guys started putting some things in the chats there first. Emma, I remember you. My goodness, cutting out these food allergies has improved my acne already a ton. Beautiful. Why do I only have libido during ovulation? Like, I get that it's higher at that time, but I have none outside ovulation. And honestly, that's pretty normal. You really shouldn't have much of a sex drive outside of week 2, really. It should be kind of all of week 2. When you're working on getting inflammation down and you may be pushing some detoxification, I don't know what herbs or things you're taking right now, but you can clear out some of the excess hormones, and that will play a role in changing your sex drive. So not out of the norm there. It's kind of a part of the process, but yeah, it would depend on what you're taking. I have a lot of puffiness in the neck. History of autoimmunity, but negative for Hashimoto's. What's going on there? Yeah, I mean, did you get both antibodies looked at in terms of thyroid peroxidase or thyroid globulin antibodies? Because sometimes they only look for one. And if you're only looking at one, that can be part of the problem there. Or it's some form of toxicity that is still going on. Maybe you have metal fillings. Maybe you're still eating wheat, which doesn't sound like you are. It sounds like you're cutting a lot of those things out. What would be some other things that would slow that down? Heavy metals, chlorine. If you're showering, drinking city water, that could 100% be a part of it. Buki, comment coming in there. What's up? How we doing? All right. So I'm going to pop over to YouTube because these guys are going crazy in there too. Good to see me, lol. From Nas. How to rich and healthy with the same time. Interesting. Is ginger good for you versus garlic? Okay, good question here. It kind of depends, because when we're talking about using, rooted herbs like that, people don't realize that this will be part of our first giveaway. How long is the stream? We're probably going to do at least an hour, so we're only 10 minutes in about now. What is the highest, and try not to Google this, guys. I'm trying to give you guys some good discounted stuff here. But let's see. For this question, I'm going to pull Cassandra here. I'm going to pull Cassandra, and the question is, I'll give you guys some time to answer this. And I mentioned this because somebody mentioned ginger and garlic. What is the highest food in anti-nutrients on the planet? Anti-nutrients meaning nutrients like let's take almonds for example. If you don't properly soak almonds, remember, you got to soak your nuts, people. If you don't properly soak almonds and you're constantly taking them in, doing raw almonds, raw seeds, a lot of nuts and seeds are like this, a lot of plants are like this, they're going to contain a lot of anti-nutrients. And when you ingest those things, they could pull minerals out of the body and they can deplete you. They could lead to certain deficiencies that way. But what is the most anti-nutrient rich food on the entire planet? The winner of this question will get 15% off of Cassandra. And let me tell you a little bit about Cassandra. So, there we go. And I want to pull up the full fact sheet for you guys. So, Cassandra really working with the liver. Huge portion of it. Probably one of the only herbs that can help with detoxification of yeast from the liver, which is pretty cool. I didn't know about that for a long time. It is an adaptogen, so it's not going to push your body to a point where you're going to be depleted in something or in excess. It is an adaptogen, so if you need more sped up liver pathways, it's going to do that. If you need to slow things down, it's going to help with that too. Cassandra also contains zinc. It also contains melatonin. It will also push, more than anything aside from St. John's, the CYP3A4 pathway of the liver, the biggest detoxification pathway that you have inside your body. Very, very potent free radical scavenger and hepatoprotectant. So protects the liver, not just the liver, but because of that potent radical scavenging or reducing a lot of reactive oxidative species, you're going to pretty much run less of a risk for oxidation and having toxicity in the body. That's part of removing that toxicity, is being able to do that through antioxidants, and there's different kinds of those. But out of all the liver herbs, in terms of one that will help balance out female hormonal levels, like on a page 3 of a Dutch test where you have phase 1 detoxification there, there will be some aspects of methylation that it will help with, but all your protective pathways, CYP3A4, CYP1A1, it will help prevent some of the CYP1B1 pathways going down there. I still have not seen the answer come in to the chats. You guys are leaving 15% off of this goodness on the table. Again, I'll repeat the question. You can use Google now. Some of my questions aren't known by Google, though. What is the highest anti-nutrient food on the planet? Come on, people. We got this. Guys, I believe in you. You're leaving 15% on the table. I said you could use Google. Come on. People are saying, got it. No garlic. It's not ginger. It's not garlic. No. Think about ginger. Think about something very close to ginger. It's not coconut. What do we got over here? Nobody guessing on TikTok. Guys, 15% off. I just told you all this stuff that Cassandra does. Ugh, I don't want this as part of that. There we go. Come on. Raises the level of neurotransmitters in the CNS. That's another one. Slipped my mind. Probably the most potent. Phase 1 and 2, liver detoxifier. So it's another asset. Where's my YouTube? There it is. Come on, people. Computer troubles. Hold on. Orange? What? No. Blueberry, apple? No. Think about ginger. Come on. Think about ginger. You guys got this. I'm telling you. You guys know this. I'm making a big stink about it for a reason. What do you put on chicken? What do you season chicken with? Yes, turmeric. Oh my goodness. Only took us 6 minutes to come up with that. That's a hard question, though. Turmeric. My goodness. Yasuki Hanamura, you are the winner, my friend. Send me an email, and I will give you 15% off. This is Sandra. These herbs are pretty much soaked within a food grade herbal ethanol for months at a time, for 3 to 6 months, depending on if it's a root root herb, if it's a stem, if it's a flower, if it's a leaf. It's going to need a different extraction time. But I mentioned that because somebody mentioned turmeric or ginger earlier, and ginger, turmeric, all these things, you don't want to do those things raw. It doesn't make sense at all, because plants are protective. They have a protective layer on them. That doesn't mean that plants are bad. My carnivores, doesn't mean plants are bad. That really means one thing, that we need to properly extract these before we ingest them. Like any plant ever. When you make veggies, you should roast them. You should steam them. You should prepare them in some way. Fermentation, all these things. And when you do soak those herbs, it's pretty much like a fermentation process. Is cayenne pepper as good as they claim? Not really. And not in my view. It's you're still taking that in a powderized form. So, but yeah. Let's see. TikTok, you guys, I was expecting more out of you guys. Okay, Michelle got it right too. She did put Emma, really good answer though. Soybeans, raw soybeans, really good answer. So Michelle, I have a bottle of Sandra for 15% off for you too. I won't leave you out because you did guess correctly. But if you're on TikTok, send me a message. If you're on YouTube, send me an email, and I will answer your questions, and we'll do another giveaway later because there's a lot of them building up. Okay, rapid fire. I'm going to take some St. John's here. No shot face. Rapid fire, people. Let's scroll back up here to Eva Grace. My heart gets to 212. Wow. When I was going for a light jog, it feels like I'm breathing through a peanut. I'm not uniffed, but I really struggle to breathe, and my heart goes really fast. I would ask about vaccine history in terms of COVID. I would ask about food allergies, because those are going to be a huge portion of this too, especially IgE allergens. IgG can play a role as well, but they're going to be more of a delayed onset, hypersensitive allergic reaction. This is a cytotoxic response, which is kind of funny. I've seen, I think it's Dr. Rubin. He's an allergist, big on online, and claims that there's no use case for food allergy testing. And it's like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. You haven't read an immunology textbook basically saying that it is a type 2 hypersensitive allergic response, cytotoxic allergic response. But they just hand out vaccines at a allergist and pediatrician. So anyways, that's fun. But yeah, Eva Grace, I would ask about food allergies. I would ask about your gut health. I would want to know some vaccine history. Maybe it's something that you're allergic to airborne-wise too, because mold toxicity can totally be on the table. But if you're still struggling to figure those things out, send a message. Let's get you some testing. Let's figure this out. Okay. Back over to YouTube. Sorry, I know there's so many questions in here. Is ginger good for you, or garlic? It's not bad for you. It's just how we're preparing those things. Damn, I might need some basic surgery. Apparently my left knee grows faster. Common. I had that when I was young too. I'm going to suck at the knee gears operated surgically in there. Yeah, that's not fun to hear. If you out garlic and ginger and honey, really good for you, especially when you ferment those things. Have you heard of, oh my goodness, I have not heard of that. Got it? No garlic? No, garlic is all in play here. Garlic, especially if you chop up a bulb over the weekend or a couple of them and kind of take those like little capsules, you can have some really good effects there. Sorry, I'm just unfiltering some comments that TikTok has decided to filter for me on their own. Never asked for that. It's not harmful levels. Ferment garlic and honey. Eat a clove a day. Beautiful. Can garlic help a sore throat? It can. I also love our herbal throat spray. It literally tastes like Christmas. It could not be better timing for that. But yeah, that can be kind of a low budget way of doing it. It's just garlic is going to be extremely potent, and it can even cause some chemical burns on the mouth. That's why you're seeing a lot of the honey and garlic fermentation kind of take trend here. Especially we're in the dead middle of winter here. Um, but I would, much rather go with an herbal throat spray just because there's going to be a little bit more alleviation there, and it's not going to be as aggressive. I have used that for some people with strep throat. I've also had them gargle some oregano oil in there. But hello from North Korea. Holy crap. Are you sure about that? Are you allowed to watch this? Do you know anything about silent lymphocytic thyroiditis? TPO are negative. Interesting. So we're still having some inflammation there. I would want to look at those lymphocytes and see where they're at and find out why they're responding, because the immune response is looking for something. It's not just trying to attack your body. That's not true at all. Your body's programmed to heal itself. But there's a antigen or a stressor constantly coming about there that is creating that response over and over. So we have to figure out why that is. I'm glad to see that TPO came back negative, but we still got to dig a little bit more there. Sorry, generally. Oh, we answered that one. Merry Christmas, cuz. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you, too. Mr. Green, what are you doing? We're just sitting here answering some questions. Emma, I was on a restrictive low-fat diet. They have me on cod liver oil. Beautiful. Anything else good? I haven't seen your labs, so I wouldn't know. Buki. Love Buki coming in here. Okay, back to YouTube. I'm catching up. I see Michelle. I know you got some questions in there. I'm going to hit them. I swear. I'm very confused on how to consume garlic for sore throat application. Is it true that it even helps? It is true. It's just you got to be really gentle. Is ginger... Hold on. Oh, fucking YouTube, dude. What the fuck? Why are you doing this? Bro. Okay, there we go. My goodness. I kept clicking on the person's name and it kept doing this pop-up thing. Is it true that it even helps? Is ginger the true alternative? Is garlic better than ginger? I do like garlic better than ginger in general. I just want to ferment that because it's going to be really potent the second you try and apply that in any way. Again, I would much rather you do our herbal throat spray. My email is in the description here. If you're on YouTube, please send me an email. We'll get everything ordered out to you and everything. We could do this. So, how long's the stream? He's back. He is back. Demon Bunny Queen. Can I soak my nuts in ginger and garlic? No. That is a clever response, though. No, you really want to just use spring water. Something like that. Spring water is probably best. I could send you a whole guide on how long to soak each nut because it's going to vary based on almond, walnut, because they're going to get pretty gross and mushy, and then you're not even going to be able to have them. So, but yeah, okay. He cured my autism with kiwis. YouTube, I gotta hand it to you guys. You guys are funny, dude. You guys are so funny. Sometimes you get a little crazy, but way to go. Steal your thunder. All right, back to TikTok. I landed on my shoulder wrong on Saturday. Oh my gosh. I popped it out. Now it hurts to move and pops every time. You're probably going to have to sling that for a little while. And I would maybe even want to get an evaluation done by possibly an athletic trainer. See if we can do some orthopedic tests with the shoulder and just at least get a good idea of what's happening with the capsule there. If there's any concern with labrum, rotator cuff, different things like that, if there is, go for imaging. Hey, Doc, why has my heart been racing? And I don't have any heart problems. So this is, okay, we're going to pause here for a minute. It happens when I eat chicken, but it came back, not going away. So certain proteins can lead to an immune response, especially if you've overconsumed chicken like crazy. And now you're leading toward a response there. I would want you to be doing something like Albesia, nettle leaf, and some beta-HCl because you're having a problem breaking down a specific protein there. I did struggle with heart palpitations for probably a year or so, and this was when I was in graduate school, right before I went to the Wellness Way Club and became a part of the Wellness Way, and now I'm a Wellness Way doctor with my own clinic, so pretty cool. I know a couple things about heart palpitations and some gut health issues and all these things because I thought I had a heart problem. I went to the ER. I went to all these docs. I did all these scans and was kind of given the runaround, which is a good thing. I didn't have any pathology showing up, but it was like, hey, why do I stand up and then I feel like I'm having a heart attack? You know, why do I have some chest pains? Why am I shortness of breath? Why is my heart going so fast? Food was a big part of it for me. Blood sugar really wasn't. It was really food and my GI because I was a wrestler for at least 15 years, almost 17 years, and did some jiu-jitsu there. I've taken loads of antibiotics. I've had loads of vaccines as a kid, and this starts to mess up your immune response. This starts to mess up your microbiome, your nervous system, all these different things. So I did a GI test. I did a food allergy test. I did some blood work. I don't know if you need that piece of blood work, but yeah, let's do a complimentary call. And because you're on this live, text me live stream, or not text me. Don't text me. You shouldn't have my phone number. DM me live stream, and I'll give you that first appointment for $99 after we talk about what's been going on the complimentary call, figure out where you live and what labs we can do and how to order these things. But, you know, in the meantime, potassium citrate. Do look at the RDAs for potassium. It's like 4,400 milligrams a day. And if you are a younger female, you're a little bit more on the skinnier side. I see this a ton. Also, COVID vaccines. I don't know if I'm getting censored for that still, but I gotta say what's causing the problems. That's certainly a thing. Mold, certainly a thing. GI, certainly a thing. We just got to figure out which of those avenues it is for you. And let's not spend $500 on labs. Let's figure out what the heck we got to do and what we have to order and not be all over the place here. So, but yeah, the potassium, you're pretty much safe bet with that, and probably some California poppy, another liquid herb, and really to help with neurotransmitter responses, smooth muscle, and get catecholamines down and out of the system. So things like adrenaline and noradrenaline, helping your body get rid of those things, as you know, and not to have as heightened of a response with them. But yes, good questions though. I don't know why I keep burping. Probably because of my St. John's. Let's take the second half of this. So yummy. Health is always yummy, right? Okay. It's like a massage on your brain with the St. John's. It's just if you're on an SSRI, don't ask me to order one, please, because there's usually some issues with that one. Buki, still having right side tightness. Any advice? I would wonder where. If it's right under the rib cage, we're looking at more things like gallbladder. I would be curious to probe some questions as to where exactly that's going on. It's kind of broad. Jen said spinach to our anti-nutrient question. Can I reverse insulin resistance? Yep, totally. Two things. Oregon grape and gymnema. And Michelle, because you answered that question correctly, I will transfer your Sisandra 15% off to your Oregon grape. And why not throw it in with the gymnema too? So technically you're getting 15% off both of those because of this. Gymnema rebuilds the beta cells of the pancreas and makes your body more insulin sensitive. Makes those beta cells within the pancreas more sensitive to insulin. Also, dampens the sweet reception on the tongue. So I will retrain the brains of patients by having them take a piece of chocolate, take some gymnema herb, put it on their tongue, eat that chocolate, and it will pretty much reprogram you to not find taste as heightening for dopamine and stress relief, so you could start to pull away the sweets. And even if you've been trying your best and avoiding sugars and, you've been in the sugar and sweet drawer for a while, it could also be a stress issue because desserts spelled backwards is stressed. So when you're stressed out, you don't crave salads, okay? You crave sugar. If you don't believe me, come shadow the office for a day. I'll show you exactly how that's a thing. The Oregon grape, probably the second highest containing berberine-rich herb on the entire planet. And berberine does, wonders for the cardiovascular system because of the effects that it has on blood sugar, basically scooping up all the available sugar in the bloodstream. Still stimulating, it's a digestive bitter there too with the Oregon grape. So stimulates some protein and fat digestion, stimulates the gallbladder, stimulates detoxification, helps with some of the fatty liver there and triglyceride buildup. But yeah, gymnema even helping with yeast. Oregon grape even helping with certain microbials within the GI that get overgrown when you do ingest too much sugar. So there's quite a bit there. But yeah, Michelle, send me a message. I'll give you 15% off both of those. And because we're doing the No Sugar Challenge in January, I will send you the invite link to our No Sugar Challenge. And if you have some blood work already, I would like to look at that because sometimes it is a stress issue that is pretty much creating that insulin-resistant issue. But let's start at the baseline of things. And kind of cool, there are new labs coming out where you don't even need to go to a lab for your blood draw. There's basically a little kit that I can send you, and you put it right on your shoulder. So the people that hate getting blood labs drawn out of their veins, I'm one of those people. You can do it right at home, and you get the results back within 2 days. So pretty cool. But yeah, Michelle, let me know. Am I saying your name right? Yes, Michelle. Patty, Houston. How do you feel about jaundice? Certainly a thing I would want you to get a medical opinion on. That's for sure. That is a medical moment. Beans, thoughts on finasteride for hair loss? I'm not a medical question guy. All natural health questions, I'm here for you. Whether it's herbs, tinctures, glandulars, all these different things. So, Mike. Mike has a very urgent question, it appears. So, Mike, my goodness. Recently fell off a ladder. Doctor ordered 27 minutes of a CT scan. I beg to stop. I am so scared. The CT scans can take a long time. So if you have some anxiety about being in, enclosed spaces, that is kind of a train wreck to find yourself in. But too much radiation. Well, you did fall off a ladder. So the fire department is looking for pathology, and if there's a true issue there, if there's an internal bleed, if there's a rib fracture that's pressing up on an internal organ that they're not going to see for a while, it's important that they're doing this exam right now. So I hope that can help kind of bring the emotions down a bit there. But I see your concerns, and your concerns are mine. You guys can still hear me over on YouTube, right? I got 2 mics here, so hello, people saying hi. Where did we leave off? Stole my ginger. Best soak, but in turmeric, no. Am I Israeli? No. I am a Catholic white male. I'm Italian. How long have you been a doctor for? Since 2023. Thank you for the wisdom on turmeric, answering all my questions and all, of course. Why do I get bitten by mosquitoes so easily? You got to get your blood sugar down. It's not the same without Gina. Oh, we all know Gina. That was about a month or 2 ago. So, pretty funny there. Horseradish with no context. Nice hair, looks good. Got it cut today. So, that's scary AF. NPR said that drove med students across disciplines are quitting their programs because even with a doctor's pay. It isn't worth in this economy. Have I seen that? Not really. No. What can relieve heartburn? So you would want to do some aloe vera juice. You would want to do some chamomile, some slippery elm, and get a food allergy test done. Send me an email. You guys can also, if you're on YouTube, in the link tree that I have, there is a complimentary call section on there. If you don't want to do the $99 visit, I will tell you right now, though, as soon as the live ends, I switch the price back from $99 to $175 for a new patient appointment. Just saying. And on TikTok, if you guys get me to 1,000 followers, I can put the link in the bio. So that would be awesome. Thank you much. I saw Michelle followed us, so she's getting her discounted herbs, highest clinical grade, potency, purity, and concentration. And she's going to get a discount as well. Okay. How is this? Okay, this is a good question. We got some conflict here, but guys, conflict brings clarity. How is any of this within your scope of practice as a chiropractor? So I can order all of these labs within my state, and obviously it's a different approach. The poster behind me really highlights this because we have a medical or fire department type of thinking where if the house is on fire or there's a emergency scenario, you can go to the hospital, you can get diagnostics run, you can have axes and hoses at your availability through insurance to where you will get provided either medications or surgery to get that body back to a state where you can buy some time and, you know, work some of those symptoms back to ground zero. However, you know, if that keeps happening and you just keep going back, keep spraying the house down, keep getting surgeries, did we really find why that was happening in the first place? So I'm, you know, to kind of venture off into what I do, it's to find the causal factors of why these things are happening, why your symptoms are being thrown off in the first place, and to look at your body the way it is in terms of mental, chemical, and physical stress that throws off the whole system. And this systems, by the way, because people don't realize that you have two primary systems in the body. You have nervous and immune systems. And those systems respond to all three of those stressors, mental, chemical, and physical. Okay? So you can mentally stress out as a woman, deplete your progesterone like crazy. Progesterone functioning kind of like an immune suppressant in that way because, I mean, that's kind of what it does. You're having a mini pregnancy whenever you have a period. So now you stress out like crazy, progesterone depletes, now your immune system's going to run higher. Now you miss your cycle because your progesterone's too low, you don't ovulate, and now that's taking place, you're stressing out. You're like, all right, I got to eat some sugar, got to get back on my morale. You eat that sugar, that converts down and doesn't aromatize correctly, so you start building up some testosterone. Now that's leading to some cystic growth. Now you're getting polycystic ovaries. See how that kind of falls into place one after another after another. So if I could look at a woman and go, why don't we test all your estrogens? Why don't we look at your sugar? Why don't we look at your hormones in the blood and in the urine so that we could see production and conversion of these different hormones throughout the whole system? The way that your body's converting these things in the first place. Let's look at methylation. Let's look at dopamine. Let's look at even some gut markers on something like a Dutch test too. Let's look at phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. Let's look at your inflammatory markers. Let's look at all these different things. So, you know, if it was involving medications or surgery, by all means, that is not my place to speak here. That is, you know, I'll provide a proper referral for somebody that does need that. But for what my degree covers, it is to run labs on people. I'm not here to give you a pathology notice, you know, but I hope that kind of tackled the question. And I like the haters coming in here because it's not haters. At the end of the day, if you're a part of the medical field, you want your patients to get better. So do I. So it's just we go about that in a different approach because our degrees say otherwise on what we can do. But here in America, you have health freedom. You could choose what you want to do with your body. And let that do the talking, hey? Plus, I mean, the 60 other clinics across America that we have, plus in Ireland, plus in Hawaii, plus the tens of thousands of pre- and post-patient labs that we have. We're actually building databases on this. so that we could show the world what we do here. But, anyways, good question. And that's how we spin something a little spicy into a positive note there. Okay. I'm rambling today, right? I have like 57 questions to get to in the live chat. So, what is small gallbladder polyp size 1.5 millimeters? Is it the same as a gallbladder stone? No. Two different things, which is a good thing. I would much rather you see you with a polyp than a stone. But yes. Laura Bolt, seen as surgery for, your calves? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. Nose sugar January. It's not nose sugar January. It is no sugar January. Oh, we got our sassy one back. Burke 2017. He's not a doctor. Doctor of chiropractic. And I know you're maybe a bot on here, afraid to put your own name in the user thing here. I got to start getting spicy back, because you're trying to walk all over me, buddy. Here's kind of how that works. In the health field, you have doctoral degrees within certain professions. So a medical doctor is a doctor of medicine. A chiropractor is a doctor of chiropractic. A physical therapist is a doctor of physical therapy, and it goes down the list. So you're a doctor of certain subject. But yeah. Burke 2017. Yeah, this guy's trying to be a freaking loser on here. We're getting him out of here, folks. No discounted herbs for him. Anyways. All right. So, where were we? Somebody said nose sugar January. That sounds dangerous. It's no sugar January. We do this every year. But yeah, no sugar January, pretty awesome, especially after the holidays. People are trying to detox, do a bunch of these different things. Cut the sugar out, please. So go to thewellnessway.com, type in no sugar, and then you will get a invite and be given all the resources for doing this as a community. Because I myself, as a doctor, do this along with all the patients I have and all the patients all the other wellness ways have. So pretty cool. More about the herbs, Doc. People want to learn more about the herbs. We got a bunch of them. We can go through these. More about the herbs. I almost forgot we're doing some giveaways here. Some discounted giveaways. Where does this sit better in the picture? Let's go here. Maybe there. A little lineup here. But yeah. Okay. I'll keep going here. Oh my God, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Why people become panic attacks. Why do people get panic attacks? Sometimes it's from a deficiency. That's really common to see. Certain vitamins, certain minerals, stressors in life. Hello, if you're a human being living in today's world in 2025 and you open your phone, you're going to be stressed out at the end of the day. You got blue light. You got all these communications. You got Wi-Fi, you got internet just blasting throughout your whole system all day long. You got goy slop food, you got all this stuff, right? But yes. Am I Hispanic? No. Am I a boxer? No. I'm Italian. Okay, back to TikTok. We're gonna rapid fire these. Buki. Let's go back to Buki. Went to the ER, got an ultrasound done, also got a CT scan. Doctor said they didn't see anything wrong, which is good. That is a good thing. It's hard to find a doctor like you. Well, send me a message. We're doing discount visits from today's live. All you have to do, DM me live stream. I will know that you're getting that discounted new patient appointment for $99 instead of $175. So, but yes. And I will be doing more giveaways tonight as we start to discount some of these herbs. And a lot of these are just holiday solutions, post-holiday, post-Christmas, post-New Year's Eve, for crying out loud. Getting the sugar down, getting the liver to push things out, getting triglycerides to come down. But yes. This Burke guy. Anyways, is pancreatic cancer rare in general? It's becoming more and more of a thing. What are you, doc in? Chiropractic and a wellness way practitioner. I own a health restoration clinic here in New Jersey. Will this fix my crack addiction? You guys on TikTok are getting funny. Usually it's just YouTube that it's like pure comedy over there, which I do appreciate, by the way. Keep it coming. Sorry, my ring light is in the way. Nicole, what supplements do y'all give to people who are trying to get off birth control? Okay, to go smoothly, have hormones flatline. Examples, of course. Yeah, coming off something like birth control, you're going to need to tell the brain to start sending signals back to the ovaries. So I would be doing something like Dong Quai the first 1 to 13 days of the cycle. I would be doing some Tribulus in days 13 through 15 so that you can get a buildup of FSH. Then you can get an LH spike to have ovulation come, which it's going to take a couple months to get this back to normal. And then chase tree probably in the second half of the cycle so that you can have progesterone curve up. And then you want to stop that chase tree around day 26 so that you can provide a drop off there, which will signal the ovaries to stimulate follicle release. So, but yes. And when I'm talking about these herbs and things, you have to be very careful where you're getting these from. This is why we manufacture our own. This is why we invited the FDA into our own facilities. This is why we have the highest clinical grade, potent, pure, organic, kosher, all this stuff. Our farms, the farms next to our farms are organic so that we do not have runoff of all these crap and things that end up in your food supply and water table. She says, I know it's specific to the person, which is true. I have cysts, that's why I went on birth control, but don't know what types of things you guys are going to give for that. So we have to, the cyst formation can come from a couple of different things. Usually you're seeing some relationship with sugar and testosterone start to cause some issues. So again, sorry for burping in the microphone, but when you're getting PCOS, things like that, we got to get sugar down. That's why I have Gymnema and Oregon Grape on this table. And then you have to convert those hormones through. That's why I have Sisandra on this table. And once you get that going, it would depend on how much testosterone, it would depend on the person. How much testosterone is building up? How much DHT is building up? Do we need to do some white peony? Do we need to do some reishi mushroom? Do we need to do some Sisandra? Do we need to do some methylation support? Do we need to do some cruciferous veggies? Do we need to do some DIM? Is there an immune system issue that's creating an immune response, which is slowing down the liver, which is slowing down aromatase, which is why you have the cysts build up in the first place? So, mine is low sugar, low estrogen, low progesterone, low testosterone. So that's because you're on the birth control right now. That would change once you came off of that because it's going to suppress that naturally because you're taking a synthetic form of it, so your brain and your body's not going to make it anymore. You would probably start by, if you yourself wanted to come off of that, gotta word this, then Dong Quai, first 13 days, a little bit of Tribulus, a little bit of Chase Tree, and I would probably do that with you for 3 months, and then we would run a hormonal lab in the blood and in the urine, so that we can know where these things are at, and it's going to take a few months for that to come out of the system. So that's what I would be doing, and then we would reassess where you're at, and go from there. But if we don't have a clear direction as to what's going on, it's going to be hard to tell. So, but the low sugar thing going on there, I would wonder what total caloric intake is throughout the whole day. I would wonder where proteins are at. I would wonder where stress is at, because that can definitely do it too. Sorry, OCD kicking in. Either way. But yeah, Nicole, send me a message. I'll do a basically a $75 discount for the new patient appointment. Because you were on here, just send a DM to my TikTok inbox and put live stream in there. But if you guys, if within the next however long, get me to 1,000 followers, I think we're at, let me see where we're at right now. 8:16. It didn't update, so I don't know. But could we do it? Could we get to 1,000 tonight? That is the question. This is why YouTube is so funny. You literally just said, I'll do a $500 super chat if you scream as loud as possible. I'm in my own office, so I can. It's just going to kill you in the mic. And are super chats even allowed on here right now? Because I know once you cross 500 followers on there, let me know. Is the super chat allowed on here? I don't even know. I think I can't remember if it's once you get to 1,000 or once you get to 500. I'm talking to the YouTube. YouTube is all right. Panic attacks, not Hispanic. Hello, what's up? Harry is a doctor. Merry Christmas, Doc. Merry Christmas. Greetings from Portugal. Oh my goodness, I am a psychosocial support care worker here. Beautiful. Merry Christmas. Nice Mora. Nice Aura or Mora. Thank you very much. Thank you. Merry Christmas from Scotland. Holy crap. I'll do the super chat if you'll scream. I know. I'm just curious if you can actually do them or not. I'm not able to beat my IBS. Brain fog is way too much because of it. And yeah, can certainly be a thing. You know, you can't do something like chamomile right now. You can do something like Albizia. And I'll be doing those two things. And in the meantime, we got to get a food allergy test done and a GI test so that we can figure out from a microbial standpoint, what are the infections taking place, whether that be bacterial, yeast, parasitic, all of those could be on the table right now. And could we do, or we also need to look for absorption and breakdown of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, because that will basically take us to a conversation of how that's impacting breakdown of fats. Sorry. Oh, okay. I was reading through this. I see you just promoting your stuff. I'm answering a health question right now. IBS. Okay. Yeah, either way. The GI test, get a good idea of breakdown and absorption of nutrients. Get a good idea of EPX. What are the inflammatory markers in the GI? What is secretory IgA? What are all these calprotectin? What are all these things looking at? And then short-chain fatty acids. So the beneficial prebiotics. Then there's a whole page on probiotics. Do you have, because you can have too much of the beneficial bacteria. And people don't realize that. A probiotic can hurt you. So there's that. And then on page 6, you will have pretty much a opportunistic infection page to where the opportunistic infections will be shown. I think that's very valuable to have in terms of rebuilding the GI back to a place of normalcy. Dr. Ultimate Squishy, DO. Nice professional title there. How does a probiotic hurt you when you have too much? You're just going to add into the too much pile, into the overgrowth, because you can have overgrowths of anything that are beneficial. You can drink too much water and hurt yourself, right? You can eat too much food and hurt yourself, right? Just how you can have too much beneficial bacteria. Now that typically we'll have people present kind of like SIBO, to where they're getting bloated very easily. They'll eat just a small amount of sugar and blow up like a balloon, things like that. Could you give me an example? Okay, so I think there's a little bit of a delay here. Okay, back to YouTube as those start to load up there. Yes, I did. Where is our... Okay, brain fog. I'm glad I highlighted that because it's kind of hard to find your place on here. Super chat. You're not fooling anybody with the super chat thing. Send the super chat first. If you send the super chat first, then I'll do it. I see. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm not fooling anything. Hello, Bella Smith. How we doing? Carnivore diet's working well for you. Glad to hear. As soon as I eat carbs, I get constipated. Interesting. I would wonder where your blood labs are looking like, because that can definitely point to some issues with sugars or issues with microbials. That is really... Oh, Dr. Ultimate Squishy Dio. I'm learning about alternative medicine. Heck yeah, I thought it was a spicy comment at first, so sorry for the spiciness back. I'm just always on defense mode here, because that's what it is now. Okay, wait, where were we? Carnivore diet's working well. Eating carbs, seeing some issues. So you're pretty much either having an issue with sugars, so we're having way too many sugar in the GI tract come into play there, or we have an issue with the yeast. And now you eat that sugar and immediately get a yeast reaction, because yeast and sugar, super compatible. They fit like a glove, and you will run into that issue. So, but for the Oh My God laser, one thing I want you doing, because carnivore will get you some progress within probably 3 months. After that, I don't think you're going to benefit after that, because you're not getting a lot of fiber in at all. So I want you to do fibrivore, okay? It's where you're having essentially prebiotic nutrients come into the system along with your high proteins that you're doing. And, you know, watch for how fattening you're going with on the meat, because some people can have hyperpermeability of fats. That is a thing. To all my carnivore friends, you can't hyperabsorb those. And when I say fibers and things, you want to do stuff like chicory root. You want to do things like even astragalus is a prebiotic. You want to do stuff like green tea. You want to do stuff like fermented vegetables, especially things like fermented onions, fermented garlic, even a prebiotic. So I'll send you a whole page on that if you would like, and because you're on YouTube, you have my email right there in the link tree. And of course, if you are trying to get a GI test done and figure this out and go back to square one, get your body back to normal, only during the live are we doing discounted new patient visits. So it will be $99, and that's it. But once we end, that's it. Okay, back to TikTok. I don't know what to do from here, though. I still feel my right side abdominal tightness. Okay, but where? Where? Under the ribs, by the hip. Where are we talking? Jen says hello. Hello, Jennifer. We don't learn this stuff. Hey, I can't blame you, man. I had to dig like crazy to find this, to find the Wellness Way. But there is a Wellness Way Academy, so you can go through that too. And since you're a DO, you already have a major background on physiology and anatomy and how the human body functions as is. So now it's just pretty much taking a different route and getting a different set of tools to work with. And now you can do both medical and alternative things. So heck yeah, man. We are here for you with open arms. And we have a seminar in May in Florida at the Omni Gate. So you can sign up for that. It is discounted until January 1st. January 1st, tickets go up. So, okay. Emma, no yeast in the gut, sugar-free diet, yet brewers and bakers' yeast were on the allergy test. So, okay, low fecal fats too. So either hyperpermeability or not eating enough. I'd be curious as to which of those scenarios it's going on. I kind of need to know more about you. With the yeast popping up there, I'm glad to see that that wasn't in the GI. Then you were doing a little bit too much sugar before. And when I see yeast allergies, that's going to be too much sugar or yeast overgrowing in the GI. We don't really know until I see additional labs, but I could bet your bottom that it was too much sugar before you started this whole process. So you're on the right track, though. And which GI test... Sorry, my ring light is like right in the way. This is annoying. Which GI test would we use to determine how well somebody is having nutrient absorption? I like Genova Lab, fantastic, best best GI test on the market, in my opinion. That's why we use that lab. And if a better company comes out with a better lab, we will switch right to them. All right. Feroxy 5, only what I hear is sugar. I don't know. Why are you throwing a fit, dude? Dr. Scam? Dude, go get frickin' boosters. Thumb exercises, guys. If you don't like what I'm saying, thumb exercises. Frickin' keep swiping, pal. Go get a booster. Go frickin' put your flags in the air. Do what you gotta do, you know? Anyways, so. This ring light is right in the way of the comments section. I'm going to move this TV so that the ring light isn't blocking my view of the comments because I look like a maniac on here. All right. We got it. Wow. Now I can see what you guys are saying. This is awesome. Okay. Get that nice and close. We handled those. GI test. Hello, doc. I have pain in my arms, elbows, and knees all the time. Interesting. Tingling feeling, and my voice has this raspy from acid reflux. What can I do? This sounds like an autoimmune response taking place here. Oh, she says more. And will my voice get back? Yeah, it's just raspy right now. So what I would do in your scenario would probably be to do an autoimmune 30 plus panel so that we could figure out what autoimmune response is happening here. And I would get probably a basic panel of blood work so that we know where vitamin D is, where your CBC is, where your general liver, sugar, lipid panel, and kind of the good basis of, what's going on. I don't want to look at hormones or any of that yet. Let's just get a good grip as to what avenue we need to go down, because sometimes it's looking for mold toxicity, sometimes it's the GI, sometimes it's vaccine damage, immune deficient or immune suppressed, things like that. So I think it's an autoimmune reaction going on, and we need to run labs to figure that out. Okay. Kind of look like Adam Scott. Interesting. Spicy doctors are us. I got my results. I have the MTHFR, MTR, MTRR, low CBS, oh my goodness, low HNMT, and low MAOA. Wow. My goodness, man. You've been through the ringer, huh? My guy Anthony's struggling out here. I'm glad that test came back, though, and sent me that lab. I will email you. I need guidance for everything. Heck yeah. If you're on YouTube, it's nice and easy. We got a link tree in the description. If you're on TikTok, we're trying to get to 1,000, so I can put the whole link tree in there. But, yes. So, let's do a second giveaway here. Second giveaway, like I said, I'm giving one of these guys away. Either Sassandra, Gymnema, Oregon Grape, or I'm not giving one of these guys away. I'm discounting one of them to 15% off for you guys if you can answer this question correctly. We have Oregon Grape here, Gymnema, Dandelion Root, and Sassandra. Basically the best herbs on the planet for the liver and for excess sugar. Right in time for Christmas and New Year's, and I will discount them 15% for you guys if you can answer this question correctly. Try not to use Google. But are you guys ready for the second question? Let's see. We got 5 people in over here, 4 people in over there. The second question of the night, which will basically earn you a discounted herb. What is the most powerful antioxidant on the whole planet? All answers are welcome. Let's see. Throw them in the chats. What is the most powerful antioxidant on the whole planet? He says, don't know. I appreciate the honesty. Blueberries, resveratrol. These are good answers. These are really good answers. Alfalfa. Holy crap. The DO coming in with some good answers here. Not yet. I'm not seeing it just yet. Glutathione. Kate, you are awfully close. It's not glutathione. I know everyone thinks it's glutathione. What is Demon Bunny Queen? What even is that? All right. NAD plus. Oh man, you guys are doing some real good answers. I will say that. But I haven't seen a correct answer yet. Better turn to Google. What is the most powerful antioxidant in the whole world? Your body makes it. It's a hormone. Think about sleep. You guys get it when I... Ooh, Anthony. That's a good one. Superoxide dismutase. I have no clue. I use Google. How do you go to sleep? Melatonin. Kate. Winner, chicken dinner, Kate. Good job. Send me a message, Kate. You're going to get one of these guys for 15% off. I'll let you even choose it. But good stuff. Do you like when I ask you guys questions on my health Q&A? All right. I know that you guys get very antsy when I'm not answering your questions, so I will get back to answering your questions. You guys are funny, though. You guys crack me up. How much is that, Doc? I will look it up right now. Each one's going to vary. I'll let you know what they all are. So, let's go to my ledger. Click on this. So, I'm going to put Gymnema. Okay. So, sorry. Freaking fingers are being fat and lazy. So I'm just going to pull all of them up. Shisandra. They're all around the same price point. We already did Oregon Grape. Dandelion. Okay. So in order. Gymnema, 76. Oregon Grape, 75. Shisandra, 80. And Dandelion Root, $75. Depending on which ones we do, but obviously we'll discount that and figure it all out. But okay, back to where we were. Let me find our place. So I know our DO was asking a few good questions. Which GI test will we use to determine how well something's being absorbed? So for macronutrient breakdown, you want to do at least a 1 day. I like doing a 3-day GI effects panel from Genova. Amy, hello. Oh, we answered that one. Heart flutter. Okay, Kate. Heart flutter is really bad. Racing when standing. Black vision. Dizzy. Cold sweats. Numbness and tingling. Yeah, so this is probably, from what I remember with the mold story that you're going through, these are pretty much die-off symptoms that you're going through, which is not fun, and we have to detox them out. That's why I got dandelion root over here. That's why we got Oregon grape, Sisandra. All those things help like crazy for what you're going through. We got to get toxicity out of the system and pour in some whole food-based things so that we don't become deficient in things. But I don't know what you're taking. I haven't seen your labs. Send me a message. Emma, how to rebuild short-chain fatty acids in the gut. You want to focus on prebiotics. A lot of the short-chain fatty acids come from things like chicory roots, like I was saying earlier. Onions. I'll send you a whole sheet on all those things. So, what labs do you look at specifically? It kind of depends. What I need to do for deviated septum. That I would just get a surgery done, honestly, or just get the nasal strips that prop the nose open. I use those. They work wonderfully. Um, my hair's also falling out. What lab value do you specifically do you look at, and how does that tell you if you have good or bad absorption? So on that GI test, there's going to be a what's the word? A spectrum that those stars will fall on based on the macronutrient breakdown. So if you're not absorbing any fats, you're going to see all those markers represented pressed up against the malabsorptive side. If you're extremely deficient in that, you'll see it pressed up on the other side of it. It is the same way for all three of those: pancreatic elastase, protein breakdown, fecal fat absorption, breakdown, all that stuff. So, okay. Any insight on autonomic dysregulation after acute stress? Yep. We got to get that stress down. That's where California poppy and kava dominate. Probably those two. Send me a message. How is melatonin functionally different from the other classic antioxidants? That's a fantabulous question. I'm getting that most powerful quote or factoid from PubMed itself. It's melatonin. If you look at the crazy cancer cases, they're using high dose melatonin. I mean, like suppository 200 milligram melatonin dosing, and getting crazy results with that paired with something like EBU, blood therapies. Super cool stuff, especially when you're testing for natural killer cells and looking for all those things too. In terms of like physiology, off the top of my head, freaking escapes me. But I could send you some good slides and things on melatonin and why it is called that. But yeah, send me a message. Okay, let's get back to YouTube. I've kind of been ignoring you guys. Yeah, no, I'm gonna repost this, so you'll see it on there. What is a normal blood count? You mean on like a CBC? Let me know some more details. At least like the stream. Is it true that tomatoes have something bad for the kidneys? They can be a little bit more rich in some oxalate there, but it depends on the person. Even as a 20-year-old male, my voice feels like a boy. Is there anything I can do to make it sound more masculine? I would want to see some labs. I would want to run a male panel and see what we got looking at there. Damn, that was fire. I love the shirt. Is it common to have many gene snips? For people that are going through crazy amounts of things inflammatory-wise, like for you, Anthony, I do see that. And my point of view is not to focus on the gene snip itself, because genes change when you change the environment. So, can you do some vitamin support during that time? Yep. But is that going to solve the thing? Not really. It will help, though. So, is that some serial killer shite? No. Okay. I think we caught up here for the most part. Okay. Well, I'm gonna... Ooh, chloroform helps you sleep. Good stuff there. Okay. Either way, 9 p.m. Holy crap. I gotta get home. Somebody tell him to get some water. Are you happy now? Was my mouth too dry for you? All right, thanks for hanging out, guys. It's freaking 9 p.m. I don't even know when we started, but it was fun. Obviously, for the people that won the discount giveaways, message me, whether you're on TikTok or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, I have a link tree in there with my office email. I have the self-registration form in there too. Obviously, I'm going to leave the $99 appointment up there for probably 10, 20 minutes after I end the live. There's also a complimentary call available there too if you just want to talk things over before jumping into anything. But aside from that, hit the follows, hit the likes. Let's get this puppy rolling. We will be back here tomorrow. Same time, I'm not sure, but whether you're a hater or a lover, you're all welcome. As always, stay healthy, stay free. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for hanging out. You could be anywhere else in the world. Also, check out my trying to be an outdoor boy. I did like a YouTube video of me just outside doing a workout outside, working with wood, making a fire. It was kind of cool. Maybe something you could fall asleep to, but thanks for hanging out, everybody. I look forward to speaking with you guys, and have a Merry Christmas.